Hey, everybody. Is this on? Can everybody hear me okay? All right, well, first, before we really get started, I need to Instagram all of you. So if everybody can smile with me, okay? Come on, be in my picture. All right, let's see if we can do this. All right. We're doing pretty good, I think. Get another one so that everybody at my followers can see what I'm up to. That's technology, right? I mean, everybody is connected all the time right now. So if you look back 50 years ago in technology, we had massive computers. And everybody could not have one of these in their homes unless they dedicated their entire living room and their income for the next 350 years to having a computer in their house. You know, back in the 60s, if just going back, we're looking back 50 years compared to looking forward 50 years right this second, you had these machines that just would take tons of people to operate, very slow compared to what we're used to. Where today, we have devices in our hands. We have iPads, we have laptops, we have even our phones are very, very sophisticated computers compared to what we had previously. And everyone really has one. At least, you know, everybody has a computer. Whether or not they even have a laptop, they have a computer in their car, they have a computer, you know, in their toaster that's trying to figure things out. And where is that going to go in the future? In the future, you know, we see things like the Google Glass that's coming out. There's just so much potential for us to be integrating computers into our lives. And we don't really know what that's going to look like. I mean, it's interesting when you look back 50 years, you know, those people had troubles. They couldn't see really what was coming. And I think we're running into the same thing because computer technology and all technology is growing at an exponential rate. You know, we're doubling the speed of processors every 18 months still. You know, and a lot of people thought things like Moore's Law weren't going to continue, but they've still kept growing. But, you know, you look at things like communications technology. Back in the 60s, touch-tone phones were invented, you know. The interesting thing about that is touch-tone phones were still being used in the 80s. You know, it sometimes takes a while for technology to come in. But if you look at, well, actually, another little funny thing is that AT&T, back when it introduced the touch-tone phone, one thing I love about it is they did extensive studies to determine that that was faster than rotary dialing. They actually used the word extensive studies. I could have told them in about 3 seconds, you know, that's faster. But, you know, you look at the modern phones and we have a smartphone. I mean, most people have smartphones. You go to other countries, maybe not, but here, lots of people have smartphones. They're communicating with, you know, video conferencing and other technologies. I know, like, when I go on a trip, I can just dial my daughter or my wife and we can talk and have a conversation face-to-face nowadays. And, you know, where is that going to go? Who knows? Is it the iWatch? Is it the just so many other ways that we could communicate? Are we going to be sitting down, you know, like Luke Skywalker looking at our little hologram that's being projected to us? But what's also fascinating about the technology is that technology is integrating together. Because if you notice, our computer now is also our phone, you know, and we're seeing more and more technologies kind of becoming one. But it is pretty fascinating how technology keeps changing. So if you look at the automotive industry and manufacturing, we have things like a car. 50 years ago, it was a very large thing. I love this, the AMC Ambassador. If you notice, you can read, this was America's first compact luxury car, right here. Very small. And so from a transportation standpoint, which was covered quite a bit already, but you can see the modern car, you know, is very safe. It can drive fast, where that older car, you know, wasn't fuel injected. It would break down. Just tons of problems with it. Where now adaptive cruise control, lane assist, and I don't know if you guys have read you know, all the information about the Google car like you talked about, where we have cars now that are driving themselves. And what's fascinating about the Google car, too, is in the 300,000 miles that it's driven, it's actually never had an accident, except for 2. that were done when it was in manual mode. So the car itself, you let the human being get involved and the Google car crashes without it. We don't, which is fascinating when you think about how this is going to affect our community and our lives as we get more and more human error out of things. Because, back in 50 years ago, there was 20 deaths per 100,000 in automotive accidents, where now it's down to 10. And so we've seen that drop in half. We'll see that continue to fall as we embrace things like automated driving, which even just think about like all the semis that could be taken off the road as you had trucks that were fully automated, and that could really free up a lot of space on our roads. We wouldn't have as many drunk drivers and things like that too, which would be great. So if you look at things like, too, in manufacturing, those cars, you can see I have an affinity for cars, that we had assembly lines and people were sitting there doing things, where nowadays we don't have that anymore. We have robotic manufacturing, and people aren't sitting in the factories as much as they used to. But that's going to even progress farther, where if you look at things like 3D printing, you have a technology company right now that's actually 3D printing car bodies. And so there's not even people involved in that. It's just a set it and go. If you look at farming, 50 years ago, here's a guy, this is 1960, he's in his tractor, he's harvesting his soybean field there. It's gone to now more automated, bigger machines of today that are farming. And we've increased farming. What used to take 12 farmers to accomplish in 1960 now only takes one person. We have now robotic farming already starting to really take off, which is even going to be much, much more efficient. I look at the future here, and I think about how technology is going to improve all of our lives, and it's really what creates wealth. Technology improves productivity, which then creates wealth for all. And that is the only way that as a community we'll be able to have no more poor, no more anything bad from a standpoint of somebody not living to a good standard. But it also frees up all our time. And so my dream in the future is a world where none of us have to really do anything, because we've created technology and productivity so that we can all sit on the beach drinking our pina coladas, virgin of course, while our robotic slaves bring us our drinks. So I look forward to that with you guys, and hopefully that you will join me. And as we think about our community, we will advance. Thank you.